time on the highway.
It was brutal today too.
Wait a minute. Are you?
I mean, I only like to be on the streets.
Is,
My kids know that. My husband knows that.
so my mom was. That's the funniest thing. My mom was like that, right? She never used to drive on the highway, and then one day she has to get on the highway for something, and I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm like 17 years old, right? And she is going down the merge lane, and she starts screaming at me, "Can I merge? Can I merge?" And instead of merging onto the expressway, she just drives over into the breakdown lane and stops. Okay? And she starts full bore. She starts screaming at me like she just loses her mind. And I'm just like, okay, that's it. I go, you have two choices. Choice number one, you get in the passenger seat and I drive. Or choice number two, I'm walking home.
Did you have your license?
Yes, I had my license. Yeah, it was the last time I ever let my mother drive.
Well, it's funny because statistically, you're actually safer on the highway than on regular streets because with the intersections and everything, statistically.
Once you merge, that's
statistically.
key.
But you have to merge. You have to merge first. Yeah.
Can I merge? She screamed it at me.
You have to merge first.
But the thing I like being on the streets is like it's like a video game. It's like, will I hit this pedestrian? Will I hit this cyclist? Will I hit this dog? I mean, so it's like very exciting. I live for the thrills.
You just sleep on the
It's like Frogger. It's like a human version of
it's
Frogger.
just like this is the greatest moment of my life. I might get 100 points today.
So, and now with everybody on on their cell phones and not paying attention, it's got to be great for you because you have so many victims.
Yeah, I mean, because then I could potentially hit a car. It's all good. It's all very exciting.
Yeah, you know what? I saw a guy. This is so weird. I wish I played with my phone more because I had to go into the office today. Terrible thing. And I saw a guy, and I'm riding next to him. I look over at him, and he's looking down, and it looks like he's looking down at his waist the entire time. I know he's looking at his phone, but if I didn't know he had a phone, I would say...
You're like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, I'm like, why is he just staring at this thing? He's in a car. Nothing's going to happen with it.
You've never seen a guy wanking in his car before?
I've
done. It's happened to me 3 times, and twice in Chicago and once in New Orleans.
Oh,
You
know
Like
what?
because they knew you were next to them or something?
No, absolutely not. I mean, if any of your listeners looked at me, they would be like, "She's kind of ugly hot." Like I'm not like hot that someone's like, "I'm going to pull my wiener out." But
wait, whoa,
you're just
whoa.
like you're just walking down the street, and I looked over, and there's these guys who are always like slowing down, and they're like,
Well, and just for the record, isn't wanking the British term for masturbation? If I'm correct.
Ted, can we save this till after our mystery guest?
But I'm just saying that's what I mean. Sometimes
I know-
people might know what wanking is.
Let's save
I think everyone knows.
Somebody,
what wanking is.
that was a thing in L.A.
Pulling the sausage.
I actually had to look it up.
I know it was a thing in L.A. with women for a long time.
What? Women were wanking in their car?
Masturbating on the L.A.
No.
on the freeway. Yes, it
No.
was. It was a big thing. They talked about it on all talk shows.
Well, traffic is really bad in L.A. It's like nightmarish. Like New York, L.A.
Wait a minute.
traffic is like...
This is ridiculous. No.
Let's stay on
I like
task,
to,
boys.
yeah. I like to think of women as like these perfect people that would never do anything that terrible guys would do. So,
Oh my God,
no.
you're gonna hate me.
All right, listen, we need to get this started because we have a mystery guest who is sitting here, and I'm pretty sure that she is not used to this kind of talk. So I do not want to
Sorry,
pollute
Linda.
her mind with this kind of stuff. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hey everybody, my name is Matt, and this is the Real 3 Idiots podcast. With me, as always, is a man who is incapable of picking winning lottery tickets. Ted.
Loser.
I'm sorry, have we met before?
Oh, yeah. I'm the guy who's not a billionaire because you don't know how to pick numbers.
I'm working on it.
You basically promised. You basically promised that you would pick the winning numbers.
Yeah, I did. I picked the winning Powerball number, and it was $4.
10. I wanted
you,
two.
you didn't say all the numbers.
I wanted two.
You did too?
$4. Yeah.
There you go.
10. I got 10.
You guys are terrible.
We both won.
Okay.
We're winners.
That is you are. Listen, you're sitting here with me. You're not winners. I can tell you that right now. Okay.
Right.
And a guy who actually sits through Bears games and suffers from the mental retardation.
But Justin Fields had a
that
really
goes
great
with
game.
that.
Actually, Justin
Yeah.
Fields, they were talking him up big time, so just FYI.
No.
So I'll give him an exception. You were at that game, so.
Last week was great.
Oh, they lost, but they actually scored points.
Finish my introduction, please.
Oh, Mark.
Hey.
There it is. Okay, Mark, you're here.
Yep.
Okay, you were. Oh man, this is crazy. Okay, and our very special guest, and I think I'm going to use this word right, and it's going to suit her. A bon vivant of the Chicago area, Elizabeth Gomez. Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm very excited. You just
too.
described yourself as. Did you describe yourself as
Ugly hot.
Ugly hot.
Yeah, like I'm hot, but I don't really like. If you looked at me, you'd probably be like, "She's not that great looking."
Oh, because
Which is fine. Which is fine. I've lived with this face for all my life. It's fine. I'm just gonna keep living with it. There's nothing.
I gotta think about what that means because I'm not really because it's very.
Have you ever met
conflicted.
someone that you're like, they're not that good looking, but they're so charming, they're sexy?
Well,
that's Ted.
Well,
oh my God.
Sexiness. Well, the funny without getting into a whole separate issue, I think sexiness is very subjective and looks are very subjective. So I mean, what's
That is true.
Hot, quote unquote, hot to one person might not be to another person. So the secret is just to go
now
with
we've
the
got
people.
deep thoughts, Ted.
Yeah. I don't have.
He
any
wasn't
thought-
like this before he got hit in the head.
I don't have any thoughts.
Did you
so,
see that?
Yeah.
I see it.
Hold on, Teddy. I didn't say anything till after we started. You have your suggestions for 60s, right?
Who's the 60? I'm just kidding. I do have something.
Okay, all right. And now, before we get into talking with Elizabeth, okay, and this is going to be great, we have a mystery guest all the way from Cocker, Kansas. Please welcome our mystery guest, Linda. Linda, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Hi, Linda.
Welcome,
I
Linda.
hope.
Welcome.
Hi, Linda.
Thank you. Welcome.
All right, so Linda, I kind of explained this, but just in case people aren't, just all the listeners, if you're a brand new listener, this is what's going to happen. Our lucky 3 people, Elizabeth, Mark, and Teddy, are going to ask you yes or no questions, and I think I wrote this down right, to figure out what super awesome tourist attraction you are in charge of. And you are in charge of this thing, right?
Yes.
Oh, see, I told her, I said to Linda, I said, please only answer yes or no. So that was it. She said yes. Okay. If you are playing at home, just so you know, kind of play along. You can have some fun with it, and we will see what the deal is. All right. Elizabeth, I'm going to assume you are the smartest person in this room right now.
By far.
Yeah. And Linda, that's nothing against you. You're not in this room. Okay. But if you would like to start, you can ask Linda any yes or no questions. Now, remember, she's in Cocker, Missouri, and she has a tourist attraction that people will go to see. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you walk into it?
Yes.
All right, who's
Wait a
next?
minute. Hold on. Let me just in case, because I think Linda's already throwing you off. You don't technically, like, it's in a place, but you can't actually walk into that thing.
Right, but you have to walk into the place.
Yeah. Okay.
Ted, censor.
Does it involve dinosaur bones or human remains?
No.
Damn it, Ted. That's a good question.
That's
I mean, you guys don't have to.
That's why I asked it.
Elizabeth, there's no order. If you,
Oh, it does.
yeah,
Okay.
nope. Just
Is it a ride?
No.
Okay.
Is it something that was made by an artist?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Oh, you guys should see Linda right now. I wish we had video. She's kind of like, would you call the guy who started this thing an artist? Was he technically an artist?
No.
Okay. I'm going to give you guys a hint in a minute. So
Okay.
Come on now.
So it's not a ride. You can walk into the building. It must have some type of building.
So it's inside.
Is it actually inside?
No.
There's no physical structure.
No, it's not an inside thing.
It's not that giant ball of yarn, is it?
How in the hell did you get that?
I was gonna say I thought that was in Rhinelander. That's in Rhinelander. The largest ball of twine is in Rhinelander, Wisconsin.
Oh, it's twine.
No, it's not.
I'm pretty.
Did you Google something before we got here? Because I didn't
No.
Google anything. So
Cocker City, Kansas.
The largest ball of twine
twine.
is in
Twine.
Cocker City,
Sisal
Kansas.
twine.
And I cannot believe that you guessed that. What
I
in the
did
hell
guess
is
it.
happening?
I don't know.
That is wait a minute. This is
I would have never guessed that. I would have been still talking about this.
I
an hour
literally
from now.
had 10 hints to give you guys because I thought
I
you
was
had
thinking
no
about
chance.
that the whole time for some reason, and I don't know if it's because of the.
What exactly is twine? I never understood what's the difference between twine and yarn. What is twine?
It's what they're made. It's made of. So yarn is like made out of like animal fur and things like
Okay.
that. Where twine is more, not
Twine
fibrous.
is made out of the leaves of the agave plant.
So it's
Oh
tequila.
wow!
Yeah, one's like
Just FYI.
Linda, here's the problem. When you said agave, tequila is made from agave, and Ted is
Yes.
now going to drive to
Is that-
Cocker,
that's really what twine
Kansas,
is? Made
and
out of a
drink-
gua-
like
Yeah.
Holy cow.
plant fibers.
Okay.
Okay.
Linda,
Wow.
real quickly, do you know about this ball of twine that's in Rhinelander, in Rhinelander in Wisconsin?
Yes. There are several
Okay,
big balls of twine.
is it as big as yours, or are your balls bigger?
Ours is, Ours is bigger. There have been people that have been to all of the balls of twine, and they have agreed that ours is bigger. And
What are the two biggest balls then?
Actually, you know what you need to do? You need to get that AC/DC song. We got the biggest balls of them all. That one song, my balls. Yeah, because I mean, seriously, because that would promote your ball of twine.
Well, you guys,
it promotes itself. Yes.
So it is outside. It is
outside.
outside. Okay, and it is a very popular tourist attraction for your town.
Yes, because people come to see it because we let them add twine onto the ball. It grows.
Well, here's the logical question: how big is this ball of twine?
I wrote down the numbers so I'd be sure and tell you the right numbers.
Because it changes
Of
every
course,
day.
I don't lift it. I have not weighed it, and it has not been weighed for years.
Sure.
It is so big, but it weighs, according to the twine that's been added onto it after it was weighed the last time, it weighs 27,452 pounds.
oh my God.
I think you just stopped at
And
27,000. We would have
has
got it.
8,500,000 plus feet.
Wow.
That is, and here's the thing: if anybody were to drive into Cocker, Kansas tomorrow, they could go by and they could add twine to it, right?
Yes.
So how do they do that? How do they add? It's
A
got to be
lot.
huge.
A lot do that. In the summer, there's usually around 200 or so each day. As it gets colder, the tourists don't. Well, sometimes they just come and take a picture.
Sure. Yeah.
They maybe don't even get out if it's snowing and blowing.
Has anybody ever vandalized it?
How do you
Yes,
vandalize twine?
a bit.
Okay.
Graffiti.
Try, or like spray graffiti, or try to pull the twine apart or something, or
Well, it is so big, and the main vandalism, the damage comes from trying to climb on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, so it's like Mount
And-
Everest. It's like the Mount Everest of Kansas. I know Kansas is very flat. Is that the highest point in Kansas then?
No, it isn't. But it has the same problem the human body has with age and weight and gravity.
The balls start to drop.
a lot of sagging, a lot of
It
sagging.
begins
Yeah.
to sag a bit.
Okay.
And so I do all I can. I wrap it around twine that's already on it to kind of pull it up a
There you go.
bit.
And how do you spell?
And when
Nice,
people,
nice.
when
You're like
guys
you're like
try
the
to climb
bra.
on it.
The bra, the ball.
She's the bro. You're the bro.
Instead of
It-
instead, so
it-
instead of
it
the
is-
Ear.
so instead of the bell of the ball, you're the bra of the ball. Okay, got it.
Well, I guess so. But the bell of the ball is the term that people use mostly.
Okay,
Either
so
that or the crazy twine lady.
There's nothing crazy about that. So I mean, I'm
that's-
sorry. How do you spell Cocker, Kansas? I never heard of that town. How do you spell that?
You don't. There's not another one. CAWKER.
Ted is
Oh.
Ted's writing this down.
So I was, no, because I had no idea. I had no concept. I was
In
gonna.
1870, four men decided to build this town in Cocker here,
Mhm.
and they they did something. We don't know exactly what the game was, poker, some type of game, and they all want to see who the town would be named after, and that's why Cocker is not. There's not another town,
Okay.
and they were from Milwaukee, and they came down here to do this. If you go to Milwaukee, there's one or maybe even two buildings that the man left Cocker City and went back up to Milwaukee, and there's still business buildings in downtown Milwaukee.
So what
But
what
it's
part?
a different name.
So what part of the state are you? I mean, like, so without googling it, like, are you like near Kansas City, Kansas, or like where are you?
We're straight west of Kansas City, right
Okay.
in the middle of the state.
Gotcha. Okay.
We are very fortunate. Highway 24.
Linda,
goes
how'd you get involved in doing this? This is like a very weird job.
Well, my husband said because I just wouldn't say no.
Oh.
And you have 14 kids also?
We're used to wives saying no all the time. It's okay.
There was no family left who could help. There had been a cousin who had helped. The men started this Christmas Eve, 1953.
Wow, that is crazy. Okay, so and in August, you guys actually have a twine-a-thon. Is that right? Like a whole weekend where people come in and they're just kind of like you celebrate the giant ball of twine.
Right. We just have a party around the ball all weekend and have a good time. But people email me and call me, and I meet them there and let them add twine. Now, if you come and you put yarn on it,
you'll be shot. I'm kidding.
No, but it will disappear.
Oh, so you
or if somebody brings some plastic or string, people want to be a part of it. And that's what we like, is having people be a part of our ball. But if we can't say it is sisal twine if it has something else put on it.
Sure.
Is there an admission charge to see this ball of twine?
Does what?
An admission charge?
No.
Or you could just approach
It's
it.
right on the highway.
Okay.
It's alongside the highway. It
Okay.
just simply has a cover. It has a Facebook page called Ball of Twine.
I'm gonna check it out.
Why don't they call it the cocker ball?
Oh yeah,
Well,
why isn't it named after?
It seems like cocker and ball. There's like a lot of play you could do there, right?
Yeah, I feel like I would want it named after
Cocker
me.
ball.
I don't know. I guess when I was doing, but it's just fun, and this is the good thing about it. What I always tell people is everyone has stress in their lives, family, health, jobs, something, and people that come see the ball, they walk up to it and they're smiling when they come because, well, for one thing, they're amazed, but it's a happy thing. It's a fun thing. And families love to come. If you were traveling with small children, wouldn't you like to let them run around the ball a few times?
And they can, and you said they can actually, so people are allowed to climb on it, which seem kind of
No, they're
no,
not.
they're not allowed to.
No, that damages it.
Okay.
No, Ted.
But
Ted,
it's the
Keep your
temptation.
ass off the ball.
Down to
But is there a barrier around it where it prevents people from doing that, or they can just walk up to
No.
it? So
You walk right up to it.
okay.
yeah, common
touch
common
it,
sense.
you-
Ted.
Yeah, because people add into it, so they have to
I can
get
tell
to it.
Ted is just a pretty boy in this group, right?
Yeah, yes, he is.
So pretty.
So he ate the brains.
He's got a great voice.
So if you
He
try to
sounds good, too. He's
So
got
if you
good
try to climb
pipes.
up the ball and you fall down and you break your neck, it's your own damn fault, is what
See,
you're
hear those
saying.
pipes?
Well,
Yeah.
I guess.
Because you know what, Darwin always wins.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Linda, we're not going to keep you anymore. Thank you so much for being on, and I can tell you right now,
Come see us. And
that's the plan.
Me, so
I'm Googling it right now, Linda.
And that's the plan. And I'll tell you this: I think when people walk up and they see the ball and they smile, it's because you're there. And you're such a nice person.
Yeah, very positive, very
yeah,
positive,
You are
very
infectious.
positive, yeah.
I know I am smiling right now just talking to you. So I think part of it is the ball, and I think part of it is you. So, yeah, for sure.
come see us.
We absolutely will. I
Thank
think
you,
the,
Linda.
Yeah, I
Thank
think the
you.
idiots are gonna. I think the idiots are gonna take a road trip.
It's like 8 hours, I think, from us.
What is Bigfoot made out of? Is he made out of twine?
No.
No, he's not made out of twine.
no.
Okay, so we cannot.
He's
add
made
Bigfoot
out
to
of
that.
our imagination.
He's made out of fairy dust,
right.
and unicorn.
Yeah. All right, Linda, thank you so much. And I look forward to driving through Calker, Kansas with my buddies here and saying hi and adding some twine.
Wait,
and not
Matt,
yarn.
you didn't ask Linda. The last 3 weeks, you've been asking people if Bigfoot
okay. Linda, please let me ask you this. Has Bigfoot been to visit your ball of twine?
Yes, he has. He's just in the next block. He is sitting on top of a building, watching over us.
So somewhere in Calker, Kansas,
Yeah.
on top of a building is a Bigfoot.
There is.
Oh my God! You know what? I love America. I love America and this show so much. All right, Linda, thank you so much for being on the show, and hopefully we will talk soon when when we are in Kansas.
Okay.
All right, great.
Bye. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Linda.
you.
Yes.
All right.
Goodbye.
Thanks for your
bye-bye.
time.
Good night.
Thank you.
Oh
Good
my
night.
God!
Have you ever heard of Casey, Illinois? Yeah, that's a whole land of like giant weird things, like giant mailboxes and rocking chairs.
And on the PBS show.
I think it was.
Was it really?
I think I remember seeing it.
Oh my God, you
What?
go way back. That's like
Yeah.
it hasn't been on TV
I love
for
that show.
Oh, I loved
Oh my
it.
God, dude,
I
I
always
love that
thought that
show.
like if they were going to bring
Wild
it back,
Chicago.
yeah, I always thought if they brought it back, I should be the host.
Dude, you would be
I would be
perfect.
great
Oh my
for that
God.
show.
Wait,
What was the guy's
is-
name? Will, right?
Yeah, Will.
Yeah.
What
And he
is
always
Wild
wears the fire.
Chicago?
Yeah, yeah.
It
What
was
is
this
this?
guy, Will. I forget his last name, but he was like always wearing a safari outfit, and he would go through Chicago and find the weirdest things.
Yeah.
So like one of my favorite things is he went to a place called Animal Kingdom, which used to be at like Milwaukee,
Milwaukee
and
and
Kimball,
Bel-
like
yeah.
Milwaukee and Kimball and Belmont, that area.
Yeah.
And one year the python there escaped.
Yeah.
And the whole city went crazy because they couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But because it was this guy who had these exotic animal pet shop. And so Will would go in there with like his safari clothes on.
he had
and
a
act like
tiger
it's
in there,
crazy.
too. The guy
yeah.
had a tiger
It
in
was
there.
crazy. Yeah, I love that place.
Oh, that is insane. Okay, so let's get back to Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, I knew you'd be the perfect person to have for Linda being on the show. And I was just so I didn't have.
Matt was like, she loves balls.
I know I couldn't.
Or in your case, just ball.
Just a ball, just a single ball.
Yeah, just ball. Okay, so now before we do this, so you and Mark have been friends for a long time.
Not a long time, but a good time.
Okay.
We've known each other probably for
4 years?
4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay.
It's like a military stint or
okay.
college stint. Yeah.
So you see-
4 years is good.
It feels long.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So
Long in the tooth. It's long in the
Mark
tooth.
always kind of exaggerates. So the way he described it, it was much longer. So let me ask you this.
We were separated at
well,
birth.
we were-
A
I
lot,
was
of,
like,
lot,
yeah,
of, lot of
it's been a long
hyperbole.
time.
A lot of hyperbole. A lot of
Yeah.
innuendo.
but
Well,
let
it's
me,
hard because we lost a whole year, right? Like you lose 2020 and everything feels all out of whack.
No,
You
but
have
I
idea.
always paint this picture of people that I like or I get along with. That that's my really really good friend.
Yeah.
Like I've known.
Oh, I would consider myself a really good friend of yours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
for
we're-
sure.
Where'd you guys meet? Without getting too
I
personal.
started working for Mark
Oh, working for Mark. Okay.
at the
But I met you.
Kedzie
I met
bar.
you before that though.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, you don't remember. I met
I
you
probably don't.
before that. I met you at
he was in his car.
no.
He was in his car. You were walking by.
Oh, hey now.
He was
Oh,
he was
good
wank. He was in full
job.
wank. He was in full wank mode. But he was a good person. He was a good person. So you
See,
saw
Matt
past.
caught
You saw
on. I
pa-
was
you-
so surprised when you said, "No, they don't do that to me." I was
she
like,
saw past
"Really?"
that. She saw past that.
No, I met you like 2 years before that, like in 2016 or 17 when you were hosting Drinkers.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes.
So I
that's
came in
true.
there after a basketball game,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole back room was full of because you guys were full on. You were like
Yeah,
halfway
right.
through it already, and I sat back there, and I remember, I just joined in to watch. It was awesome.
Yeah. So I had a writing group called Drinkers with Writing Problems, and so I used to do. And we used to
Affectionately known as Drinkers.
Yeah,
We
we would
just say
call ourselves drinkers. So we used to have a live show at this bar that called the Keds. Well, at the time it wasn't Keds, it was probably
Briscoes,
Briscoes.
yeah.
And you guys would just sit on the stage and write?
No, we did a whole
thank
show.
God, because that sounded really
Yeah,
boring.
No,
boring.
tell them, no.
No. So basically, we would just get up on. We would write during whatever time between the shows, and then we'd come with our polished pieces and read it with different other writers throughout Chicago. People who are professionals, people who are amateurs, all sorts of different people, poets, like screenwriters, or like, a lot of it was like probably first person narratives. It was awesome. It was like a great.
it was like the
great
first
show.
Friday of every month, right?
And this is in front of a live audience.
Yeah, so they would write.
How many people would you average? Would you say in front of your
That
audience?
the back room probably could take up. I would say our average shows were anywhere between 50, like probably around 50. I
Yeah,
would think
that's a
the
good,
most,
that's a
yeah.
good number.
Yeah.
That's a good number.
I mean, for a small neighborhood gig that we were just doing for fun.
Yeah, the
Sure.
back room
Yeah.
was packed.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay, so let me ask you this. Like I said, Mark does exaggerate. So let me go through this so people know who you are, and then you tell me which one of these things Mark is true and which one Mark might have exaggerated. Okay, I'll go through them all. You were a professional roller derbyist, a writer.
It would be a roller derby athlete, just to be clear.
Okay.
Derbyist.
I don't know how this works. Okay, professional roller derby athlete,
athletes, yeah,
a
yeah.
writer, a stand-up comic, a podcaster. You flew bombing missions in World War II, and you invented the gym shoe.
I did not fly bombing missions, but I did because I'm a pacifist. So the shoes are yes. Those shoes are yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
But it's JIM, not shoes.
They're all branded Jim.
Yes.
Shoes for an actual
Shoes,
guy
yeah.
named Jim.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that is completely awesome because you don't seem big enough to be a roller derbyan.
Roller derby skater. That's all. Why is it so hard, Matt?
She looks pretty athletic. I can see her. I can
He's
see
like a roller
I
derby
can see you checking somebody into the boards and doing one of those.
I mean,
things,
yeah. I mean,
so.
that's. I think any sport is always about like timing and probably like how if you know where to hit someone.
Well, it's just cerebral, and plus, it's like I said, it's timing, it's athleticism. It's like because my daughter plays rugby, and she's not a big girl, but she can hit like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, if you know where to come and attack someone, it's usually
for
it doesn't
sure,
take very much.
For sure, yeah.
Ted knows where to attack people. In the heart. That's where he attacks people. Yeah.
Just where it hurts.
Okay, so how long did you do roller derby?
Well, so in 2004, I was going through a divorce. I was about 30 years old, and I had 2 young toddlers, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And I was miserable in my life. And so I saw this video online for the roller girls in Texas. And, I mean, I fucking love women, right? Like, and then you put skates
I'm
on
the same
them,
way.
right? So you put skates on them, and you put like fishnets, and they're like punching each other, and I'm like, like it's just over for me. So I was like, the only thing I can do with my very sad life now is be in roller derby.
I can smell the pheromones already.
Yeah, I'm like, my whole body's blood. Like right now, I'm just like flushed. So I tried to reach out to all these gals in Chicago, and no one knew of any leagues that had started. So I reached out to some of the girls in Texas and New York, and they wrote me back, and they're like, "There's not a roller derby league in Chicago. Why don't you just do it?" And then I said, "Well, because I haven't skated since I was 12." And then they were like, "So what?" And I was like, "Yes." So fucking
That
what?
is awesome.
Thank you.
Totally, they totally, you reached out and they empowered you.
Yeah, completely. The whole thing. So at the time, I was also working at a print shop, and my best friend was a salesperson there, and I said to her, "This is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to start. But I need your help because obviously."
Is that Kim?
No, this was a gal named Kelly. We call her Sister Sledgehammer.
Okay.
She's from Detroit.
Nice.
So I was like, "Sister, can you, this is before she had her name, but I was like, Kelly, can you help me?" And Kelly was in sales, and she says to me, "I can't show up to work with black eyes." And I said, "I can't do this without you because I have these 2 kids, and I'm not really good at these things, and you really are, but I can get all the skaters." And then she like thought about it for a few days, and she's like, "So I guess we should find a place to skate."
That's what I was going to say. So did you?
And then we started.
Did you organize all this without a venue?
We had nothing. It was just me and Kelly. Our bicycles and some flyers we printed up in the place that we were working. So we printed out these like little handmade flyers. I made up flyers from clip art. And every night and every time I didn't have my kids, I would just go out my bike and I'd see
And start a league,
Yeah.
Get people to sign up and then form teams, right?
Yeah, I just started giving out flyers.
It's like Fight Club on skates.
Yeah, I saw all these like really really cool chicks on the street, and I thought, wow, she would probably make a great girl in roller derby. I bet you she'll like it. Give her a flyer, start talking to her, and then the next thing you know, I had 120 people at our first party, and well, actually, it was our second party. Our first party only had 1 person, but we tried again, and our second one had 120 girls, and that's how we started.
This was in 04, right?
Yes, and it was at. Do you remember the Cork Lounge in Roscoe Village? No, either.
And they had a roller derby.
No, we didn't get a rink for years, but
Rainbow was still open then.
Rainbow was not open.
They were closed?
2004.
Okay,
They're closed.
okay.
So we would go down to MLK skating rink, so down on the south side.
Sure, yeah, I've been there.
And it was so funny because there would be all these like black kids.
I
like,
skated
skating.
there. I skated there growing up. I lived
You
in
used
South
to have-
Chicago.
Yeah, so you used to have to get a card that was like the United Skates of America membership
Oh
card.
yeah, I remember that.
They were hot pink. They were super cute.
That's exactly what I thought every time I pulled mine out.
So when we got down there, it would be like they thought we were the funniest people because, it's like this group of like multicolored haired, tattooed, like mostly white chicks that came down there to skate. None of them could skate. And like these 13-year-old like black kids were like, "Let me show you how to skate." And it was the best. I loved it. And but eventually we found a space and started skating in
So
that
where was
space.
the space at?
Well, we started skating in Palatine at the Orbit,
yep.
and then in
Oh,
Lombard, Lombard.
And they had
skating
men's
rink.
leagues there, right?
At Orbit, they had a hockey side, yeah.
Okay.
So they had hockey on one side, and they had roller skating on the other.
Okay.
And so we would do that drive for several weeks, and then we got a practice space at like Grand and Western, basically.
Okay.
Because
That is, and now, unfortunately, it's not going on anymore, right? Is
The
that
roller
right?
derby?
it is,
No,
yeah.
it's still going.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
still
they have a
going.
game the 19th actually. The Windy City Rollers.
Okay, stop. You stop right now. Where is this happening?
I just saw it online today, but I can't tell you off the top of my head. I can't remember.
Oh my God! And you can go watch, right?
Yeah, it's a different game than when we started because I mean, I would say this is like we were like super punk rock. Me and these gals, we were really looking for ways to feel stronger about who we were. I'm telling you, like once we got into Derby, people were breaking up with their boyfriends, they were ending marriages, they were quitting jobs, they were starting businesses, they were fucking
It was
each
like
other.
Fight Club, then. It
just
was like
nuts.
the movie Fight Club.
So it's very empowering. Is
Yes,
what it was.
because,
Wait, go back up to the before they were doing what to each other?
it just
And now things have
Right.
changed just a little bit.
they were exploring their like sexuality. I mean, everything was
Nice,
happening, and it was amazing. So we started our first season was at the Congress Theater,
Okay, yeah.
which I don't know if you guys remember.
I remember Congress
I
Theater.
do
yeah.
a little
Oh,
bit,
yeah.
a little bit.
Super punk rock. It was like it's falling down. You walk through the door. You're
That
like
was on
underneath-
Milwaukee Avenue,
yes,
right? Yeah.
You're underneath the top tier, and
It
then,
actually did fall down eventually, I think.
I think it literally. I think
Yeah.
literally it was there one day and it wasn't there the
That's-
next day.
Right. Yeah, so people would be on the like the top level, and you
Yeah.
could just see like crumbling on the side,
Yeah.
and it was incredible. So we would skate every night before the bouts because it was a rock venue place, but it's like an old theater, right? So
Right.
it's set up like a theater, not like a clear floor.
Yeah.
And at angles. So we had to make a really tiny track, and then we would go and we'd scrape gum off the floor and pull out nails and like things that people had left from the concert before. And then we would skate. I mean, but then it was brutal because gals broke their legs, they broke their collarbones. I mean, it was just because the space wasn't really accommodating to this.
And you had to have referees too, right?
We had referees. We used to do like shows to like halftime funny shows. But after that we went to, and we really did build this from the ground up, right? So it was like we didn't have very men involved, thank God.
So was there like a sexual
you know what?
element
No,
involved
that's-
too? Because like let's assume I've seen roller derby, but it's been years. But like the women, they're attractive women. They're kind of scantily clad. They're wearing like the shorty shorts and the fishnets, like you said. So was there? I mean, there's obviously a sexual element because that attracts a certain segment of the. I mean, there's an athletic
Ted
element
and
to
I.
it.
He's saying Ted and I would
Yeah.
go for that.
Yeah.
We'd go for that.
I think
It's like mud wrestling. No, I'm just kidding. No,
when we
it's not.
when we started, I remember that was kind of something we sold because we were like, well, who doesn't want to watch girls in fishnets
Right.
fight,
Sure.
right? But I think the amount of sacrifice we started to do for
Yeah.
the sport
Sure.
required us to become more athletes.
Sure.
To really like start focusing on things. I mean, when we did the Congress, there was girls like in between games, like smoking cigarettes out a
Right.
window, right?
Sure.
So that's kind of cool and fun. And I remember telling the Sun Times, I was like, the thing that I love about the sport is when you don't have men involved, you can be a woman expressing yourself and being as hardcore as any kind of dude, right?
Sure.
So it's like I can wear lipstick, but I can change a fucking tire, get off my dick,
because
right?
because no one's judging you. Because no
get
one.
off my dick.
Yeah, because no one's judging you. No one's judging you. You have to worry about like a
I don't.
guy.
Yeah, I don't need
Yeah.
to wear your fucking shorts.
right.
I don't
Exactly,
need
yeah.
to like
Yeah.
play your stupid rules. I get to do anything that I want to.
Yeah, that's good.
And we had I had an interview with one of the local papers where they were like, "Aren't you?" Oh, because we had a skater who ended up being a quadriplegic during one of our games in Cicero,
Oh,
Yeah, that's.
and the paper was like, "Elizabeth, aren't you really really scared that women are going to get hurt in the sport?" And I got so pissed because I was like, you would never ask any man that question.
no. How many times you have as a football player? You walk up to the Bears after the game. Justin, you had a great game. Are you afraid to run sometimes because you might break your leg or something?
Yes. No, that would never. Kids are, parents are like, you know what? He's 4 years old. Let's give him a brain injury.
Right, for football. Yeah.
Yeah. No one questions it for men.
You know what? That is so weird, and that's one of the reasons. Like when we look for sports and everything, like I don't like talking sports at all on the show. But the only sports I will talk about are women's sports because it's that thing that makes them so different and so cool, right? Because guy sports, everybody in the whole world can talk guy sports. We've all seen it. Everything's been done. But when women do this, like we tried our best to have women from a professional football league on. That didn't work out very well, but that's the kind of sports that I think
Matt's
are
into
much
like
cooler.
the fringe like
Yes,
sports.
I
like
love-
shit that's not mainstream.
ESPN
but it's cool,
ate the
it's
Ocho.
hardcore. So like your thing is so hardcore because you guys started it from the ground up. It wasn't invented by you, But you had nobody with any experience.
We had no
I
one.
know,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So we like even for training, we would call like I would write to other So at the time, I think we had 7 leagues in the country. So I would write to the other gals and be like, I don't know how to do this, and the gals would be like, okay, well I got you, and then they would send me like drills and stuff. They didn't end up working out very well, and a lot of them. But it's okay, it's okay because you're learning, right? And there's nothing. I feel like there's nothing more helpful in anyone's life than to try something, screw it up, and then rebuild.
So that's this show. That, by the way, that's this show. That is exactly what this show is.
But that's a great analogy because it's like the frontier. It's like if you're the first one to try something, there's no precedent to it, so you have to learn it from the ground up. And that's how you learn stuff, by mistakes. You make mistakes, and making mistakes is a good thing. See, we're taught in today's society that when you make a mistake, oh, you're a bad person. It's bad.
Right.
But like your kids, like, don't make a mistake. But kids should make mistakes because that's how you learn. You learn from your mistakes.
They should constantly be falling and hurting themselves.
Yeah.
And yes.
If your kid wants to go out without his coat on in the winter, sure, let him go out.
Yep.
And when he gets frostbite, then he'll know better next time, or she.
Exactly.
Father of the year right there.
That's exactly how my wife thinks.
If Matt wants to
Like,
start a
I'm like-
if Matt
I'm
wants to
like,
start a podcast, let him.
Put your coat on. Don't get hurt. She's like, let him figure it out. I'm like, all right, whatever.
I mean,
That's
I
easy.
think that's how we learn lessons, and that's how we learn to be stronger. So, in this case, we ended up after our first season, we had held Chicago held like a national kind of convention for it, and so that we could build like a governing board, right? Because in other sports, you already have governing boards, and this is like no, there was none for us, so we decided that we would start one. And so we hosted it. And one of the first things we did was we were part of this thing called the Dust Devil, which was in Arizona and Tucson. It was like a national game. Well, everyone else had like bigger spaces because they weren't living in the city.
Yep.
These are all suburban spaces. They had a full-size track. Our track was half the size of the rest of the tracks. So when we got to Tucson, everyone across the country had heard Chicago's always selling out. They have crowds of thousands. And we did. It was crazy. But it didn't really matter when we came to play the sport because when we went to compete with someone else, our crowds didn't matter, right? What mattered was what you were able to do on the track. And we got all our hot girls, like not hot, like sexy, but like hot as in they were like badasses. They were online. They're at the jam line. We're ready to kick people's asses. We saw people watching us and like just everyone gather. We got our butts whooped. It was we were out in the first 5 seconds.
Was
like,
it a stand-up?
Was
it a stand-up thing because the track was so much bigger?
It was so much bigger, and everyone just like kind of stands around. And we were out our first game, completely humiliated, like completely embarrassed. And then we came back to the point of rebuilding, and we were like,
you learn something.
We're like, we're never gonna let this happen again. And then we just started all over again.
No, that's and that's the thing. Like when you go to like softball tournaments and stuff. Like when I was playing big time softball, and we'd go out of town, we'd go out of state.
You
right?
played softball?
Yeah, Ted. Hall of Fame, Ted.
Oh.
Hall of Fame. Thank you.
That's right.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I forgot.
And yeah, we'd go out and we'd bring these teams, and we're just like, man, we are gonna kick the shit out of everybody. Like you know what? We'd walk in and go like this. That's a trophy. I'm gonna make room for that trophy in my basement. That's perfect. And then 2 hours later, you'd be like, all right, are we gonna drive home or are we going to the bar first?
Wait, were you a stat padder? You like to pad your stats?
No, I was just great, Ted. Okay. It's just called being great.
Just checking.
Yeah, my greatness like went to many different levels. Okay, so let me ask you this: to get away from roller derby, you also did or do improv. Is that right?
I do not, because I'm not that boring.
Wait, what?
Improvs are boring people, man.
Yeah,
Wait.
improv's boring.
Actually, I don't. I actually don't know what the term. What does improv exactly mean? Does that mean you're just making stuff up as you go? Is that improv? I really don't know.
It's one of those situations where people are like, "Throw me a word," and you're like, "Donkey," and then they start doing this whole like scenes on donkeys.
So wait,
I'm sure people are good at it. I've never met anyone in Chicago, but everyone does do Chicago. Like Chicago is famous for improv. It's like this is the city to do it.
But if you need somebody to host the show,
That's me.
Elizabeth would MC it.
oh, so you wait, so you
I actually wouldn't because I would not watch an improv class. I'm like, no, I do not need to go to your improv show. Thank you.
but you did comedy, or you do?
Yeah,
comedy.
I did stand-up comedy for a period.
Okay, so here's the thing. I have always that has been one of my dreams, but my biggest thing is that fear of failure. How did you when you first got up there? You had to be nervous. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was really lucky because so in Chicago, comedy and stand-up we have very, very, we have the scenes in the country. Like in LA, if you're doing stand-up, sometimes you have to pay to do the open mics, which is wild to me.
Wait, it's open mic, isn't that supposed to be free?
That's correct. That's correct. That's what you think. But I think they're trying to I don't know what the deal is in LA, but that's how they do it. And so a lot of times LA people will come to Chicago and they'll be like, Chicago's amazing because I can do whatever I want. I can do improv. I can do stand up. There's always mics and shows for all those things. So there are tons of classes you can take, which I think are super helpful. And my teacher was a woman named Kelsey Huff.
For comedy.
Mm-hmm. Kelsey Huff. She was she's been like a host at Zanies, and like if you look her up, she's everywhere. And she creates a class for women that's specifically for women. So it's called FemCom, which I forget. There's a very famous comedian who started that. I can't remember her name right now. But
Paula Poundcake.
Paula Poundcake.
But Kelsey does this class, and then you like graduate with these ladies, and then she coordinates this whole class, like an open mic for everyone. She helps you put your set together. Then you go to this show that she does with all the people you're in class with, and everyone invites your friends who want to laugh with you. She gives them all rules about how they can laugh and how they behave in a comedy show.
Wait, what?
No, it's really important. Actually, that's really important.
It's like a test, right?
Yeah, because it's like, okay, we're gonna get these ladies prepped and ready to go out in the real world. First thing we need to do is give them confidence.
Yeah. But there's just not rules. You just laugh, right?
No, but this is
No, God, no. There are people who are like, let me tell you about men. Let me just tell you about men.
Uh-oh.
See, you're already doing it.
I'm misogynistic too. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes. It's like no matter what you're saying to people, or like you have stage time, you have time. There's always some dude who's like, I'm smarter and better than you. They do it to men too a lot of times. You know.
Are you talking about like hecklers?
Like the hecklers,
Yes,
the hecklers.
hecklers.
Yeah.
Hecklers.
So actually, that's the funny thing. It should actually be the opposite. So what I think should happen if you're being like a trained comedian, you should actually your first performance should be in front of a hostile audience with just professional hecklers that say, because that way you think on your feet. I
Right,
mean,
so you don't know what you're talking about.
I probably don't. No, but it's like,
No, you're absolutely wrong. You're
but
absolutely
it's like
wrong.
sports.
Wait,
It's like
wait, no,
you need to practice. You need to practice harder than you play, right? Like sports, you practice harder than you play. Then when you play the real game, you're actually more. It's easier.
Hold on. Can I just
that
say
make
this,
sense?
Elizabeth? Ted is terrible at sports. He is absolutely brutal.
I know.
At all
I'm not
sports.
really
I
funny.
think
I'm not
there's
really
a
funny.
17th hole. There was like one moment that he had in his life, right? That's on the 17th
One
hole.
moment. It was like one moment in time. It was like one moment in time. It's like the Whitney
There's-
Houston song. Yeah.
I listened to the podcast.
And
I
I've
did
just-
my
I
research.
think it was the 19th hole at the bar.
Hold on a second. You are maybe the first person in like the last, I don't know, like 3 months that has
reference?
actually listened to the show.
I'm telling you, this is not just a hat rack.
And she proved it.
Yeah.
Okay, and Ted, I'd like to tell you this. There's actual classes for comedy, Ted. Maybe you could do that on your off time?
No, but wait, hang on. I want to finish what you were saying because it's really interesting about.
Robin.
So it's the complete opposite of what Ted's saying.
Yes, because you're going to have enough hecklers. Trust me. Sure. The first couple of open mics I went to, I remember dudes coming up to me and being like, "Hey, I like your jokes, but here's what I do," and I'd be like, "Go fuck yourself."
So
I don't need.
so there's some mansplaining. There was some mansplaining
There's
going on.
always
There's
mansplaining
some
and
mansplaining
interruptions.
Just like right now.
Interruptions.
I caught
Ted.
that. I caught that. By the way,
So here's the
That's
weird,
what we like to call shade.
I caught that by the way.
but here's the weird thing. No, I mean think about this. You go to a comedy show, right? And don't you? I mean, you just go to have fun and to laugh.
Yeah.
I've always been freaked out by people who, unless they're prompted by the comedian, who have to put their 2 cents in. I'm just like, listen, if you're good enough, get your ass up on the stage. Either that, shut the fuck up. I came to listen to Elizabeth, not to you who think you're funny. And guess what? You're not.
No, I give props to like any comedian. I don't care what their skill level is. And plus, if I was like a heckler, which I would never be, I'd be scared to death because if that comedian was clever, they could probably tear me up. Like, I mean, like if I said
constant
something silly,
jokes about your small dick and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing is that when you have a new group, there's 2 things that happens when you bring in a comedy audience, right? One is that this new group of comedians who are women, by the way, I think this is a really important part of this, is like they're women, right? We haven't been like historically like geared up to be tough in any, I have personally, because that's where I fall in my personality, but like that's not true for every woman. And so to give them like a space where they could succeed the first time builds confidence.
Sure. Yeah.
It also helps with the audience because you can teach your audience, like your friends don't go to comedy shows necessarily all the time. It also helps them learn how to behave at a show. So there's 2 things that are happening through that. Like, don't say things, don't add things to their jokes, just laugh and clap and then be quiet. And then once you go into the world of open mics, that's a nightmare. That's just like
And what's an
horrible.
what's an open mic? I don't know what that
An
is.
open
I've
mic,
heard of it,
yeah.
but I don't know what that is.
An open mic is our practice space. Basically.
Practice, okay, but
yeah.
it's in front of a live audience. Though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Usually it's other comics because what any comic wants to do is they want to hit several open mics.
Okay.
So usually someone runs at a bar or a club. They'll be like, anyone can come up. You sign in, and then you get 2 minutes. You get 3 minutes, and that's usually your practice time. It's always really important to have your jokes very tight.
What does that and what does that mean when you're
That
having
means
jokes
that
very tight?
you don't want to tell a joke that takes 7 hours to get to a punchline.
Okay.
You know.
You hear that? So don't ramble on.
Wait, you know what, Ted? Who are you telling?
Is
you
there,
are the
is
king
there,
of
wait,
the
is there
ramble.
like is there a question in our future? Is what we're trying
Ted,
to say?
I literally thought you wrote the song "Ramble On." That's oh my god.
that was Led Zeppelin, by the way.
You know what's great about that is that what you said. Open mics consist of the audience. A lot of times consists of other comics coming to support those comics, and they're not even getting up there, right? They're
No,
coming
they
there-
are. They are
some
getting
of them,
up there.
Okay, and that's another way that the new comics can get a lot of good feedback from the old comics.
Yeah, if
Or
if
from
you, if you
experienced
invite
comics.
that, right?
Yeah.
Like if you invite that. So like men again, because this didn't really happen to me with women. My experience has been that men, when I would do my set, and they thought that I could tweak it when I'm talking about being a mother.
Okay.
Right? Because you know,
Could you add some
every
tweak-
dude
yeah,
knows
tweak
about.
that.
Could you
knows
add
how
some
to-
penis things in there with the mother stuff? I could, yeah.
that they would say something, they would be like, "This is what I think," and I'd be like, "How long have you been doing this open mic? Where else do you perform?" And they're like, "Well, I've been at this open mic for 7 years." I'm like, "I don't need your advice."
Yeah.
you know,
That sounds like a loser.
See, actually, what you're I actually never thought about what you're talking about right now. But so my question, I'm certain because I don't, I don't.
He
I don't,
says that to every single
I've never,
guest.
I've never been to Zanies. I've never been to like a comedy show. It's been like I think my grandma took me to a comedy show when I was like 12 or something. That's
Yeah.
the
And
last
she
comedy
left
show.
you there. She left you there
She
for
left
2
me
weeks.
there. Yeah, exactly.
2 weeks he
so,
was there.
So I would see. I think like in general, like I think women are harsher toward other women, are more judgmental toward other women than men are. In my, it's like a jury. Like if you're on a jury and you're the defendant and you're a woman, I think the women jurists would judge you harsher than any man would. What's your opinion on that?
I don't think that has been my experience,
Yeah.
and I would not ever say that. What I would say is that if they're a lot more internal about it, and men won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That is true. We
That's the difference.
an hour and a half.
I won't shut the
an
fuck
hour
up.
and a half,
You're right.
and we just won't shut the fuck up.
I did
have
shut
you
the fuck
guys,
up, you're
so
right.
have you guys? So
I should stop talking.
Ted's never. You've never been to a comedy show, Ted? Like a stand-up
Yeah,
comic?
I've been here the last 42 weeks, Mark. Yeah, I have been to a comedy show.
It's actually,
I
hey,
got you.
I can't
Ted,
hear anything funny though. That's the funny thing. That's the ironic thing. So I'm waiting. Hold on. I'm just looking. No, it's nothing yet.
I just want to tell Ted, it's been 43 weeks. So what week? Oh, the 1 week, you were not here.
So if this was like a pregnancy, the baby would be past due.
Yeah. I also, Matt, I think that you should do it.
It's taking forever. It's like Rosemary's Baby or something. Yes.
I think you should do it. I think you should get up there and do the mics. If you want to, I will go with you. It's not hard to get into the mics. You just sign up and you have your jokes, you write them down, and you tell them. And the thing about an open mic, and this is what makes it terrible, this is what makes it so hard to do, is the purpose is to fail again and again and again and again.
oh, I
so
do that
you
I do that once a week
So,
right here.
so what you're saying is
That is not true.
failure.
That's not true.
Failure is an option. So you're going to be okay.
It's a good option because the more you fail, the more you realize that you can tighten up the joke, right? So the more you're like, okay, now I see why this is offensive because in my head it made sense, but now that I'm saying it out loud, it feels weird, right?
So
I feel like that would be my
Elizabeth,
problem.
It's funny. So a guy I used to play softball with years ago. I'm not going to mention his name, but he actually was like a semi-professional comedian. He actually was on there was a comedian show on TV.
Wait, who was this? Say it.
I'll tell
Give
you
me his
after.
first name. Give me his first name.
Tony.
Wait, Tony the Bowler?
No, Tony the Titty.
Wait a minute. Are you saying Tony, the guy we bowl with, was a professional
No,
comedian?
listen. So he went on this.
Wait a minute. He was the least funniest human being I've ever met in my life.
Elizabeth, I'm being interrupted. I know what you mean now. Anyway, so long story short, this guy he made it to the show, and you got like 1 minute to like impress the judges,
Yeah.
and what's hard? It's hard to like try to be funny. That's what's hard. I mean, like when you try to do anything,
Yeah, you got a minute. Go.
you got 1 minute, and you know what? Frost my balls, snow this high. Yeah, I mean, it's just not going to work. You know what I mean?
Was that your joke?
Is that it?
Yeah, see,
Okay.
that didn't work at all. So
Wait a minute.
whatever.
Hold on a second. I cannot
What can you do
believe
within a
you are
minute?
telling me right now that Tony, that we played softball and bowled with,
Tony the Titty.
Tony the Titty, was even. I cannot believe this. Elizabeth, he was the least.
That's how it works,
This guy
though,
was
isn't
the
it?
least
that's-
funniest human being. No. We would be for an hour, 2 hours bowling or in softball. He never said one thing that was even remotely humorous.
Actually,
I actually thought that he was in a train wreck and it killed his.
That he was
funny
that he was
bone.
retarded.
Yes. I mean, I cannot believe
No,
that.
actually, the funniest joke I ever heard. This is the funniest joke I ever heard. So, so I'm in a bar with Tony, and he's one of those guys. He's the life of the party. He's very gregarious. So he's telling this joke. He's telling this joke. It's like a 7-minute joke. It's 6.5 minutes into the joke, and just as he's about to get to the punchline, somebody screams out the punchline, and just to get away from. Now, see, that's funny.
Oh, that was probably
is
me.
funny.
Sorry.
That was
That's
Matt
funny.
the Heckler.
I
Yeah,
cannot.
Matt the Heckler.
I listen. I am overwhelmed. I want to get Tony on the show if he's that funny. I mean, because it would be the first time in like 10 years that he would actually entertain me in any way, shape, or form. I'm freaked out. I am. I'm freaked out. Okay, we got to move on. All right. So Elizabeth, you are, and this is kind of cool. You are half Puerto Rican, half Korean. Is
Yes,
that right?
I always like to say I'm Korean, a bad driver. With
Oh,
a,
that's great.
Wait.
A bad
I'm always
driver.
a bad driver with a shitty attitude. That's what I
And a
like to tell
switchblade
people.
knife.
Yeah, that's like
My
it's nuts.
half
It is
sister
absolutely accurate.
lives in San Juan, by the way. So yeah.
Okay, so when you grew up, the food must have been insane. That must have been the greatest thing to eat in the whole world. Because
Yeah.
honestly, Puerto Rican food and Korean food are two of my favorite
They-
things.
it's so good. And so my mother was a Korean. She's from Korea, so she learned to cook all the dishes that my father liked. Even though my father ended up leaving, and then it was just sad rice. We would just eat sad rice and kimchi.
Bibimbap, is that the
Bibimbap.
Bibimbap, yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, that is weird. And now you grew up in New Jersey, is that right?
I was born in, and I love this too about my history is that Elizabeth Gomez, was born in a town called Fort Dix. It just makes me so happy because I do love dick. Also, I think dicks are great. I know that I've been bashing on men a lot.
Talking about Richard, by the way, not the appendage,
Richard.
the actual the name Richard.
So
yeah.
okay, so if you grew up in New Jersey, I have one question.
No, I didn't grow up in New Jersey.
You were just
I
born
was just
there.
born there. Uh-huh.
Okay, so how long did you live? How long were you?
Maybe a year. I mean, my dad was in the Army, so we would move like every 1.5 to 2.5 years.
Okay, so 1 year in New Jersey. I think this still applies.
Okay.
You probably know these two things. How many cars have you stolen, and do you fight every day or every other day? That's the New Jersey part of it, right? You can't get away from it.
I haven't sold any cars.
Stop telling
you know what?
people you're
Actually,
from New
I
Jersey.
tell you, I think I technically stole a car from my mother, but I gave it back to her when I was a teenager. Because I fell in love with this GI, and my mother specifically told me that I couldn't take him from Virginia to North Carolina for his deployment.
How old
And
were you?
Probably about 17.
Wow.
And so my mother said, do not take the car. And I was like, okay. And then I did. And I drove him in one day all the way to North Carolina and back. And then the next day, my mother was like, okay, so my mother, I have to tell you this part. My name is Elizabeth. My mother named me Elizabeth, and she named my brother Abraham. She cannot pronounce either one of our names.
Do you have a Korean name, or is your name actually Elizabeth?
So my brother's name's Abraham, and my mom calls him Aby. And when she's really feeling good, she's like, "Oh, AB Chidi."
What?
Well, you know the Filipino comedian. He's half Filipino, half Polish. Joe
Yeah,
Coy, the
uh-huh.
comedian. So like his name is Joseph, but his mother calling him Joseph.
Yeah.
Joseph. She can't pronounce the H. So where's your lunchbox, Joseph? It was here and now it's gone. Where did it go?
Joseph.
Where did it go?
Yeah, so my mother doesn't call me Elizabeth. She likes to call me Lisa, which is easier for her to pronounce, but she can't pronounce L, so she calls me Risa. So anyway.
Oh man, that is so awesome! I want to go to a family party and just hang out.
It's so ridiculous. So I brought the car home, and then the next day she was like, Risa. And I was like, yes. And she's like, you take car? And I was like, no. I made sure to put the gas in the car. So I thought I got it all done. And she's just like, I think you take car. And I was like, I don't think I did.
I think you did.
You gotta be sitting here, you're 17. She probably like looked down. Okay, the car's out there. She fucking took it. When she called home, I'm gonna ask her if she took the car because it wasn't there and now it's there. And you're
And
like,
then she
I don't
looked at
think
the-
I did.
She took the mileage. She was just like, my mileage. Because
wow.
I went to North Carolina. I went to a whole other state. And
I love that you. I love that you straight up just. You didn't straight lie.
think I did.
love that you did the. Hey, did you kill those 4 people? You know what? I honestly, I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
Oh, the worst thing I ever did to my mother.
What I hear. That's a horrible thing to start with.
The worst thing I did to my mother. My mother was a waitress, and she worked. I mean, my mom worked her ass off. So she worked 6 days a week. She did 12 hours waitressing, and on Sundays she did 6 hours. So we never really saw her. I fell in love with another boy at the mall, and he climbed through my window one night. And my mom normally didn't.
That's called stalking, by the way. So.
Yeah, right now. That's
No, I
amazing.
invited him.
She rolled her hair down. She
Yes.
climbed up her hair.
So, my mother usually came home around 11, and he came over around 8, and we were like, doing what teenagers do. And we didn't lock our doors in our house. That was like a thing. We just didn't do it. And all of a sudden, I hear this like rattling of someone coming through our house, and I was like, shit, it's my mom. So I put Chris, this is the name of the guy, I was like, get in the closet. So he gets into the closet, and I locked my door, just like being like, please, she's not going to come in, not going to come in. She starts rattling my door handle.
She beelined for your room.
Right. So she must have smelled something.
could
She must have
smell
been like
it.
something was going on.
Did you, wait,
All over
did
the
he
kid,
come-
like over the kitchen.
This is like that.
Did he park in the driveway? Because that's a dead
called-
giveaway.
I don't know.
It's called
I
smell
don't know.
pheromones. That's what she
I'm
smells.
picturing
Yeah,
the
she
scene
was
from
just like-
Boys in the Hood.
Oh my god, my heart my heart is like racing, and she's like messing with the door, and then I like go to the door and I rub my eyes, and I'm like, oh, I didn't expect you home so early. Like I was sleeping.
That was called acting.
Improv. You do improv.
If I was the mother, I'd be like, Elizabeth, something not right.
So then I opened the door, and she's like, why'd you lock the door? And I was like, oh, I must have done it by accident. And then she just like pulls her hand, because my door is right next to the closet. So she puts her hand like right on the closet handle. And my heart is just like, I'm about to pee my pants because I was so scared. And she opens it, and she sees Chris. He's hovering in the corner of the closet. She closes the door, and she walks out, goes
No
to her
way.
bedroom.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Doesn't say a word.
All right,
Does
wow.
not say a word. Just lays in her bed. I get him out of the house. He's like out of the closet. Like I throw him out the window.
Finally, he's out.
Right. And I, for whatever mad, crazy reason, I decided that I would confront her, and then we could act like it didn't happen. So I walked into her room, and I was like, Mom, why are you home early? And she's like, I say in Korean, when women are frustrated, they're like, 아이고. So she was just like, 아이고, Risa, who the boy in closet?
That's good.
And I go, Mom, you must be so tired from working your shift because there was no boy in my closet.
Wow, you are so. So that was your whole thing was to imagine that it didn't.
So you tried to mind fuck your mom.
I don't really remember that. I don't think that happened.
I was like, who are you talking about, Mom? And she was like, I know, boy in closet. And I was like, no, come check, because I knew he was gone.
Oh my
So
God.
awful.
Isn't that great how we think our
Awful.
parents were that dumb?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, didn't we all do that? I had a girl. It's funny because you said he snuck in. There was a girl I dated, and I used to sneak into her room, and there was always that fear of her father and everything. And we ended, and it was a good time, But I remember how we broke up. I actually had her over to the house, and we're eating dinner, and my parents are there. And she says to my dad, she looks right at my dad. She goes, so Matt and I are talking about getting married. And not a sound. What? Yeah. I am 17 years old. I am maybe a junior in high school, maybe a senior in high school beginning. And I'm like, oh my God. And you talk about peeing in your pants. I just like, oh man, this is the end of the world. And my dad goes like this. He goes, yeah, sounds like a good idea. Right? Okay. So
Because it's all stupid shit. That's
Yeah.
why.
Not another word is said. Nothing is said. This girl goes on talking, except for her, right? She just goes on yapping around, right?
She wasn't kidding.
Sounds like
No.
She likes talking a lot.
okay,
Obviously,
okay.
she's good at saying
No,
shit.
she's serious as shit, right?
She's good at saying
And
shit.
This was never said. I you know what? When I asked my wife to marry her, I was actually when I asked to marry my wife, I was kidding. Yeah, somehow it
That's
happened.
what happened in my first marriage,
Yeah.
actually. It was a joke.
It backfired.
Yeah. And I remember as we walk out, I'm like, oh, we're gonna go out, and my dad can go. My dad puts his hand on my shoulder, right? He's a bigger guy than me. He puts his hand on my shoulder. He looks at me. He goes, if you marry that girl, you're going to have to, get the fuck out of this house. And I was like, I'm like, Dad, no, nothing was ever said about this. Not a single word was ever said about this. He goes, better fucking not be. Oh my God! And that was the last time.
Sounds like he was a blunt instrument,
dude. Oh wow! I mean, my dad's idea of like explaining things was how hard he hit you. That was yeah. If he wasn't sure, he just wanted you to know that he was interested in what you were talking about, he'd hit you lightly. If he wanted to know that he was serious, he could definitely let you know.
So if you had two black guys, that means he told you twice.
Yes. Yes. Well, you know what? That means he told me 3 times. You didn't see like the bruises and the other things.
You know what's the funniest part about this? When we're younger,
you didn't see the part where you were beaten with a phone book.
Not about getting beat up.
Beating me.
The story about your dad's reaction to something. So we all tell the story from our perspective, but goddamn well that our parents are telling the same fucking story from their perspective to their friends wherever they're at. Like your mom is telling, would you believe my daughter has a boy in the closet? I decide, forget it. I'm going to bed. I'm not even going to confront her on it. She comes to confront me on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm some idiot. Like I don't see the boy in the fucking closet.
So basically,
your mom has that story in her mind.
So basically, you gaslighted your mom.
I completely gaslighted
your
mom.
mom.
It is the worst thing I've ever done to her, for sure. But I wanted to just tell you, Mark, as a Korean woman, they would never tell anyone else because they would be too full of shame.
Wait, is that a thing?
My mother was definitely, from my mother's perspective, she was at that point, she was essentially a single mom because my dad had disappeared. And
it's probably Bigfoot. Just so you know, I don't want you to be upset. It was probably Bigfoot.
I think it was a woman named Barbara.
Yeah, she had big ass feet though.
So she was always very afraid of because he was in the military. She's from Korea, so she was very afraid of what power a regular normal soldier in America could do. So anything that we did that was wrong. I mean, I'll give you a great example. When my father finally decided to actually send her divorce papers, was Christmas Eve. What a dick.
Oh, God.
And my brother and I, at the time, I think I was 15 or 16, and my brother must have been 3 years younger.
You were
than
here
me.
in Chicago?
No, we were living in Virginia. That's where my parents lived.
Okay.
And my mom saw the sheriff's car pull up into our driveway, and my mom was like, you two need to get into the closet. Don't say a word. Don't move. That's how scared she was to get served divorce papers, and thought that he had that kind of power to take us away.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So my mother would never think of that, telling anyone anything about our lives. We were not allowed. As a matter, so at the time it was stranger danger all the time. So my mom, because she was a waitress and we were home alone. I was home alone from when I was 8 until I graduated high school, right? So she was always very worried because as an 8-year-old, I mean, think about it, your own kids. It's 8. It's very young.
What's the term? Latchkey kid.
Latchkey kid.
Yeah, latchkey
I
kid.
was
You're
the
home
same
alone.
way. Same way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
me
8
too.
years. Nowadays, you would never think to leave
but
an 8-year-old
back then it was
at home.
everybody. Both our parents worked, right?
Yeah.
And then, or if you were a single mom, like my mom was for years. But we went to school after she left for work already. So
Same with me.
you get yourself to fucking school. You come home to an empty house.
Yeah.
And they don't get home till 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Unfortunately, I wasn't that lucky. My mom was there all the fucking time.
Well, and my mom
24/7, 7 days a week, 365. Oh yeah, she was just
except when the boat's docked.
She was just she was just ensconced right there. I'm like, oh, there she is. You set your fucking watch to it. Anyway, proceed.
So my mom.
How'd you guys get so lucky?
My mom didn't come home till 11, so it was definitely you cannot.
it's
an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old at home by themselves.
Jesus.
So my mom.
You were probably in bed half the night.
Most
she came home.
most of the time. So my mom got into this habit because she had heard the stranger danger. There were messages on TV all the time when we were all young.
Yeah.
And so she had learned all the things that kids should be doing. So she would call me at the house, pretending to be a stranger who's trying to figure out whether you're home
so
alone.
she was
the phone
testing
call
you?
thing. Yeah, the
Yes.
phone call thing.
Oh yeah, got that many times.
But my mother has an accent. So it would be like this. Risa, this your mom friend?
Your mama,
your mom home?
Yeah.
And I would be like, no, my mom's not home. She's in the shower. That's what I was supposed to say. She's in the shower. Can I take a message? Oh, I think you loan home.
No, so what's like the big, like, back in, I mean, I know, like, there was always, like, child abductions and stuff back in the 70s and 80s, but you just hear about it more because there's more social media. So, like, the big stranger thing is like, oh, come to my van, I got a free puppy to give you, or, hey, your mom's hurt, I'm going to take you to the hospital to see her. I'm like, hey, you know what? That's cool. She can just fucking stay there. I'm good. I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah, threatening Ted's mom was the worst way to do things. I'm going to come over there and I'm going to kill your mother. And Ted would be like, okay, go ahead, do that.
By the way,
Doors unlocked.
No, by the way, I'm like, dude, my mom's in the hospital. I'm like, who the fuck are you? I ain't never seen you before.
You're like, my mom has no friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to say I spit on your grave. I'll see you later.
Oh no! I spit on your grave.
Tell that story again.
No, I spit on your grave. Oh, so Elizabeth, you did a podcast, or you're doing a podcast?
I have a podcast.
Okay.
So I have a podcast that we shut it down for a little while because my co-host got a book agent. So she's finishing a book agent. She's been writing a book, a rom-com book. And so she just got an agent. And so she has to finish up her edits and then we're going to come back. But it was called Wokefield. We're changing it to a different name.
I like that name though.
Yeah. Well, because so basically what we do is we like look back at how media and television, like just books, media, television really fucked up our ideas of being women. Like,
It fucked up my idea of being a woman.
Right.
Yeah, I was actually, like, before all this stuff, I think I would have become a good woman.
So
I really do.
How many episodes did you guys have?
We did 2 seasons, so 26 episodes. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So the
That's
first season was I don't know if you've ever heard these books, but they're called Sweet Valley High.
Yeah.
Do you remember those books?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like all the girls used to read them when we were kids.
Yeah.
So
and some fellows.
Yeah. And so those were all based on the Wakefield twins, and we called it Wokefield because we went back and we read the books. We did dramatic readings, and then we would discuss like how the book was so messed up and like why would we think that. The season 2 was about movies. So
that's what I listened to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we did dramatic readings for that. Movies like very famous movies like Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke, Beaches. Cheech and Chong was really hard.
Yeah. You know what though? It's hard when you're that high. I mean, obviously you had to. I mean, obviously you had to. You can't do anything with Cheech and Chong without being high. It's because it's not funny.
Well,
I watched. No,
I think one of those guys was only high. I don't know if it was Tommy Chong or the Cheech guy, but one of those guys was legitimately high like all the time, but not the other one.
Well,
I don't remember which one.
Do you know how they even met? It's super interesting.
I do not. Yeah.
So, Cheech and Chong. Chong is the taller one with the big beard, and then there's Cheech Marine, right? So, Chong, his parents owned a strip club and Chinese restaurant, and I don't know.
It was a combination.
I think there was like some kind of buffet situation, and then it was a strip joint.
I'm buying that.
Hold on a second.
That's
I
what I want.
That is absolutely perfect because I don't particularly like strip clubs because they're sad and disturbing.
I love beef fried rice.
But yeah, I love fried rice.
So then afterwards, he would do like his own like little stand up thing, and that's how they met. So like Cheech came into the bar. So I thought that was a really interesting story. But anyways, the second season of Wokefield is all about film. So like we did Joy Luck Club, which was really interesting. We did 16 Candles. 16 Candles definitely does not hold up at all. It's awful. We did Dirty Dancing. So there's like how do you look at these movies now when we know what we know now, right? Versus what we liked then.
It's very funny. It is
very
funny.
So I remember Joy Luck. What was the theme of Joy Luck Club? I don't remember what that was.
Oh my God! This is about a Chinese family that moves to America. So it's like their whole history.
Right.
There's a drowning of a baby.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I listened to the one you guys talked about, Waiting to Exhale.
Yes, that one's really fun.
That was good too.
Did stand up. That did stand up. Yeah. So we're going to change the name. I think we're thinking it's going to be called Don't Ruin This For Me because Adrienne, my co-host, tends to be very like bright-eyed. I mean, she's a beautiful blonde, like girl from Rockford, And
is this just the audio or can people see you when you
No, it's just audio.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, Ted. Listen, as soon as the luster and the kind of like coolness goes away when they can see you, like if everybody could see you, no one would listen to this show. Yeah, they just
That's
wouldn't.
the whole thing with celebrities.
Specifically
though.
you, Ted.
All the celebrities.
What are you trying to say?
No, you know what though? It's so hard to do that.
Let's keep
you
some,
add
let's
that
keep
extra
some
little bit of video, and it makes it so difficult because people, you have to dress a certain way, you have to do a certain thing.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, you have to stop picking your nose. Yeah, that's the thing, Ted. You have
Get
to
off
stop
your
you
cell
gotta
phone.
get-
Get
right.
off your phone.
What if I was
You have to
thinking-
get all the right angles. And I mean, again, another issue with like women versus men is that when you're a woman, there's a lot more to pick on. Like men love to come in and just tell you how ugly you are at all points.
I honestly,
That is
honestly,
true.
I
That is
think-
absolutely
honestly,
true.
I think men and women are a lot more similar than you think. I
So-
mean, I think we create that social construct where we're like so. I mean, I get it.
This is
men
totally from a man's point of view.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Listen, hold on.
I think
I
some
don't
people.
agree.
I think some people talk themselves into it where like we're way more different, but we're more alike than you think.
I think.
agree.
Do
You know?
I
don't
think
agree
that
with
there's
that at
shitty
all.
men and there's shitty women? I
Yeah.
absolutely agree
Absolutely,
with that.
yeah. Just
Absolutely.
like- yeah.
But what I'm saying is that there's definitely the social element to it that is like,
I
there's
agree.
a lot
but,
of permission
but,
for men.
but that's fantastic.
How
but
many
that's
men
just-
have told you what they think your tits look like?
Listen, every single no, I'm not even
Have
messing
you
with
ever
you.
been? Have you ever been to an open mic where someone whispers in your ear, "I want to fuck a milf"?
Well,
Have you
I've
ever
never
been at work when a guy who is a constituent of yours comes into your office and says, "I like the way your body looks. I think my fans would like it, and I think you should probably be a number girl in my boxing ring where you run around with a
See,
hula
that-
hoop on
no,
fire."
that is a big
I
deal.
agree.
Wait a
number one,
minute.
let me
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
I agree 100%.
We know
I
that
agree,
guy.
That literally happened to
No,
me
I agree.
at work.
I agree 100% with
Yeah.
you.
While I was at work.
So if I woke up tomorrow and I was a woman, you're right. No, seriously. If I was a woman, you're
God-
right.
God,
I'm
please
going to be
make this
I'm going to be
happen.
talked to a different way than you are.
No.
So your experience is different than mine because you're going to get
Because I'm a woman and you were a man.
yeah. So yeah.
Thank you, Ted.
I'm
We're
saying-
done with you.
No,
We're done.
This isn't a white.
We can move on.
This isn't a white privilege card discussion. I'm just saying
no,
that. Yeah,
it's not. It's a sex card.
No, but you're right. But you're 100% right. You're going to be treated a different way
It's a
than I
gender
am.
card.
So for example, if I walk into a gas station, you walk into a gas station, yeah, you're going to have some random guy come up to you and ask you something randomly,
Or could, yeah.
because there's a sexual element to it, not because he, hey, what time is it? He doesn't care about. He knows what time it is. He's
Titty
just doing
time.
it. Yeah,
It's titty time.
Yeah.
I'm not. They're not even trying to pretend. They'll just
Exactly.
go ahead and say what they need to say.
So I do agree with you 100% in that aspect. And I'll just leave it at that.
So,
Thank
all right.
you.
So
Thank you.
I wanna-
Thank you for
I-
showing that you should
so
not
I-
have spoken at all.
I want to lighten the mood here. Because,
Wait, hold on. I want Ted to be a
it's
chick.
already light. It's already light.
So no, it is.
Oh,
it
by
is.
the way, when I was young, people used to think I was a girl because I had long hair and I had like lighter features. So like someone said, "Hey, you have a cute little daughter." I'm like, "I'm a boy." So
Oh, I
yeah.
feel your pain. I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
not feel your pain
I
at
know
all.
you don't. I know you don't.
Oh my God. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. This
You're
is-
oozing authenticity, by the way.
Teddy, listen, no matter what, okay, no matter what we say,
No, I'm
no matter what we
agreeing
do,
with Elizabeth.
there's no way you can compare what a woman has to go through
I just agree with her 100%.
to
I
what a
agree with-
guy has to go
I
through.
just agree with her.
Because listen,
I just agree with her.
Right, but what I'm saying is, and this is the weirdest thing, right? No guy. Probably, except for me, because I'm a gay magnet. Guys, gay guys love.
Oh, me too. I should have just been
And-
gay because
yeah.
I mean I should just be. I wish I was living in Uptown
I'm
right
telling
now.
you
I
right
would
now.
have. Yeah, I would just.
Gay
be, yeah.
guys love me, and
Yeah.
I don't pay enough attention
We
to
should
know
move.
that
We
they're-
should just move
yeah.
to like
Wait a minute.
Andersonville right now.
Gay guys just want to be friends with me.
Sorry.
Oh,
Mark.
that's so sad. But yeah, it's got to be terrible. It's got to be terrible for a woman because at any point, let's say you do whatever, right? You're not even dressed up. You just walk outside.
Yeah, you don't
do
have to
your
be
thing,
dressed up. You don't have to
and,
do anything.
And some
Yeah.
there's
You're
a
just there.
guy
Yeah.
somewhere on the planet,
Anywhere, yeah.
And I'm not going to say Republican
Yeah.
Party, but somewhere on the planet is a guy who thinks that he can just walk up to a girl and say, "Hey, you know what? If I had my way, you and I would be banging in the back of my car in the next 10 minutes." And that's a thing. That's a real
No,
thing.
but no, and you're 100% right. So it's funny. So your blessing is your curse because the blessing is you have unlimited options, but the curse is you have
Unlimited options.
But you have
That's
unwanted
a
options.
brown woman.
No,
Ted,
but you have
let's stop. Let's stop.
unwanted options. Yeah. No, I'm just saying it's.
I want
it's
to
real.
continue liking you, Ted. Let's
real.
be cool.
Unlimited.
I don't have any
All right,
feelings.
so
It's
here,
okay.
here. I want. So Elizabeth has a great story. Maybe I'm going to ask you this. Yeah, I texted you. So
I'm going to ask you this.
no, I
don't
did.
even find this story so funny, but I love
Dude,
it.
I love this story.
I know.
I tell everybody this story. I'm like my friend Elizabeth one time. All the time I tell the story. So tell the story.
So
I love this fucking story.
I have what I call celebrity blindness. So like I can never I have like a very low self-esteem issue. It goes way back, but like I never think anything happens to me, right? Like I'm not going to go down the street and run into some famous person. I'll never win the lottery. That's
Right.
not like my lot in life.
Because Ted's picking the numbers.
Actually, I want to win the lottery. By the way, so
I hope so. I wish good things for you, Ted.
She's lying, Ted. Ted, hold on a second. No, Ted. I do wish good things for you.
My scar is twitching, so I already know that what's going on. I'm kidding.
So, like, one time I was working at the Museum of Contemporary Art, and I was serving coffee, and this beautiful man was at the coffee place, and I was like, "Wow, this guy's really beautiful."
What's a beautiful man to you?
Ryan Reynolds.
So many men.
Sorry.
Okay.
I think like most people are beautiful to me. So I looked at him and I told my coworker, I'm like, God, that guy's really hot. And she's like, yeah, because he's Billy Zane. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, he was a real dick in Titanic, by the way. You saw what he did in Titanic, right? He was like,
Ted.
throw the women and children overboard and save my ass. He was a dick.
Elizabeth, we have to do this thing where we try to explain to Ted that movies aren't real.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait,
Yeah.
so what you're saying?
He thinks
He was wearing a wig in that
so what's
movie,
his name?
too.
That guy didn't drown, so Leonardo DiCaprio didn't really drown in that movie?
No.
He's alive? Okay.
so. Elizabeth, he was
And
going
there
to
was
ask you.
and there was room for both.
He was going to ask you if you know Madonna because she played professional baseball.
Oh,
That's
I
what he
see.
was going to ask you.
So then, like, another time was like I was in an elevator. This like little man came onto my elevator. He pressed a button. I was with my friend. He gets off the elevator. And my friend's like, do you know that was Billy Joel? And I was like, no, I had no fucking idea, right?
But how would you know? I mean, Billy Joel. I mean, Billy
He looks very
Zane.
average. He looks like any guy in Chicago. Like
Yeah.
So one day,
Hold on, I'm faking. I'm going to be Billy Joel tomorrow.
you're too tall to be Billy Joel. So
set-
one day,
yeah, set the
So one day, I'm meeting my friend Crimson at Delilah's. Do you know Delilah's?
I love
Yeah.
Delilah.
Yeah.
That place is one of the best bars in the city.
On Lincoln.
Yes. So we're at Delilah's, and she's not there yet. So I'm just like hanging around, and I meet this woman, and I start talking to her, and she's like, "Oh my God, I love you. You're so fun." And I was like, "What are you doing in Chicago?" And she's like, "Well, I'm here with my boss, and this is what we're doing." And I was like, "Oh, here's all the places you should go." And she's like, "Well, before you tell me, let's go meet my boss." And I was like, "Okay." So we go to the bar, and there's this like very thin woman. She's a little petite, and she has obviously some kind of wig on, but I'm not exactly sure why. But I don't really care either.
Right.
And her boyfriend is kind of like a Tommy Lee looking guy. And I was like, hi. And then we like introduced our names. She's like, my name's Stephanie. I'm like, my name's Elizabeth. And we're just talking. And I was like, oh my God. Well, this is your first time in Chicago. Here, because I love Chicago.
Right.
So I'm like, here, you got to go. You got to go to Navy Pier.
No,
I
you
didn't say
no,
that.
you did not say that.
But I was like,
Do you
here's all
like
the-
Ferris wheels?
Right?
Do you like malls? You
Have
got to
you-
go to Woodfield.
Have you ever heard of a Portillo's? Yeah.
You like hot dogs? We got pretzel hot dogs.
Pizzeria Uno. Okay, so I was like, here are all the places you should go, blah, blah, blah. I had a great time with her. My friend Crimson walks in, and she's like giving me the nod, like, let's go sit at the end of the bar. So I'm like, goodbye, see you guys later. And I'm sitting next to Crimson, and Crimson's like, do you realize that you were talking to Lady Gaga? And
No way.
And I look her dead in the face, and I go, no, her name's Stephanie. Which turns out it's a real name.
Wait, here's the best part. I had no fucking idea that Lady Gaga's real
Well, she
name
has
is
like
Stephanie.
four names. She
Yeah.
has like four names, like Stephanie something something.
But I think Stephanie's her birth name, isn't it?
Yeah, she has. But her name, it's like something Stephanie something. I don't
Yeah,
know,
it's
whatever.
weird. But
Yeah.
apparently
she
it
goes
was-
by Stephanie, right? Yeah.
Apparently, I had this whole conversation with Lady Gaga, and I'm just like so celebrity.
But you know what's
blind.
great is her friend walks in. She's like, "Get away from here. Come over here," because you have no idea who you're talking to, and I do. You're gonna fuck this up.
It's funny.
Like, oh, shut up, Elizabeth.
Get away from her.
It's funny you bring that up because I remember like several episodes ago, I think I mentioned that like I'm like so unimpressed with celebrities. Like if I remember what I wouldn't recognize half of them if I saw them, and if I did, I just don't give a shit. Because I'm
Ted's
like,
so New York.
What do I care? What do I care? I mean, I met Joe DiMaggio when I met Joe DiMaggio.
Hey, Matt Damon, go fuck yourself.
I met Joe DiMaggio when I was like 12 years old in New York City, and yeah. I didn't even know who he was at the time. So the point is, I mean, if I met Kanye West or whoever's the popular guy,
Always Kanye West.
Yeah,
Every,
whatever.
Every show, it's always
oh, by the way, Kanye, I want you on the show.
Oh my
I love
God,
you,
dude.
but seriously,
Boners for
just
Kanye.
for our ratings. But honestly, just if I just met some random dude, okay, yeah, he's a celebrity. Let's just say I met Tom Brady. What do I give a fuck? I mean, okay, yeah, I'm a grown man. He's a grown man. Okay, you can throw a football better than me. I don't give a shit.
Ted, we appreciate your opinion.
I don't give a shit.
We appreciate your
Ted.
opinion. Thank you for that very good, deep insight.
Ted, she is not. She does not appreciate your opinion, Ted.
I gather that.
No, but you know what? I mean, if
I'm
a
just playing.
celebrity,
I'm playing nice in the sandbox.
no, if a famous person is just being regular, would you really? I mean, unless they stood out like really important or something that was just in your brain, could you even possibly imagine? Like say we're done with this, right? We all head over to a bar, and somebody walks in. How would we know that that's
But
that
I'm
person?
saying, okay,
Why
like,
would you
like,
run
if I,
into
like
him?
if I saw
because
if I saw
you see
Tiger
them
Woods
on the covers of all of things, right? Like so, Ozzie Guillen, for example, I love Chicago. I love being here. I don't watch any Chicago sports really, except for the Bears, where Mark and John gave me a jersey of my own, which I really love. But Ozzie Guillen, so like I work for an alderman, and Ozzie Guillen used to be in our ward, so he would come into our office to get parking passes. This is so fucking normal, right? Like this is such a normal thing. So Ozzie Guillen, my coworker, is a big Sox fan, and one day Ozzie Guillen comes into the office, and he's like, whatever his accent is, he's just like, I need parking passes, and so I talk to him and whatever. He's like, I like you, and I was like, I like you, and then he kisses me on my face. Like at work,
that's sexual harassment.
Which also does not happen for men.
Obviously,
He
yeah.
kisses me on my face and tells me that he can't wait to see me again, which I was like, that's really weird.
Dude, yeah.
But I don't think that he was translating. I think he was like, oh, I'll see you later, but it didn't translate well. Anyways, then my coworker comes storming up to the front, and she's like, do you know who just kissed you? I was like, no. She's like, Ozzie Guillen, and I was like, who is that?
The guy who got fired from the White Sox and the Marlins.
Okay.
By the way, that's the guy. That's
Hold
the
on
guy.
a second. This is going to be the weirdest story ever, but almost the exact same thing happened to me with Ozzie Guillen. Yeah.
Kissing everything.
He
Wait,
kissed
you,
me. Yeah.
you met Ozzie
Yeah,
Guillen?
so
Did
it's
you on your cheek?
no.
Oh.
No, you did not get a
Matt.
kiss?
We were a little bit more involved in that, but yeah,
Oh,
he's a very affectionate man. Yes, and I don't know
And
why
he
they
is
call
very
him
hard to understand.
He's
He's
called,
Okay.
that's
He's
called
hard to
that's called a
understand.
sexual predator. By the
very
way,
hyper.
Mark. He wasn't hard to understand. I think we.
Oh, I think he was hard to understand, Matt.
we
I
read
think
each
he was
other.
very
he
hard.
was, he was harder. He was harder, right?
Well, Matt's fluent in the language of love.
Yes, we understood each other perfectly. Yes.
I
Yes.
hope there's video. Is that like my guest gift? I get just like a video of Matt and Ozzie Guillen. That would be the most amazing.
No,
thing.
because I'm smart enough to know that those videos would have been shared. Don't listen. This is a good thing. This is funny because I'm not going to tell you why I was talking about this. Don't make sex videos and don't send naked pictures of yourself. Everyone who gets them will send them to someone else.
Or
That
move
is-
them out of the room when contractors come over to work.
Oh, no.
Pamela.
Yeah.
That's listen.
well, you-
that's not a
Technically,
thing.
it was
Well,
in his garage.
every sex video, every sex video that's quote unquote leaked is leaked by the person who actually made the video. You know that, right?
Yes, and I'm very proud of myself, Ted.
Kim Kardashian.
I can't believe she's famous for that. I think people should.
I can't believe this got out. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You released it.
Sorry. Oh my God. Okay, so listen, we gotta at some point everything has to end.
Yes.
Everything has to end, and we have to do this now. If you,
I'm so sorry we went so long. I
No,
feel
no.
like your other podcasts were about an hour.
Wait,
so
what
I was
time
just
is
trying-
it?
No.
It's been like an hour and a half almost.
Has it?
it's
average.
just
Like, or this little clock says.
Wait,
an
I'm
hour
not.
20.
I'm not giving
Wait, but
suggestions.
oh shit.
Oh. We'll do it next time. It's okay.
We keep saying we're going to do suggestions for 60s.
Just ramble on. It's okay. Just ramble on.
No. You know what, Ted? Too many people have. So we get
Ted
on.
has to do it.
Yeah, he has to do it. So we get on, and Elizabeth, you if you've listened to recent shows, you probably missed the fact that Ted has tips for 20s, and that's where he gives. You haven't heard any of those, probably.
Oh, right. It's like the last couple don't have them at all.
Say haven't had it, and that's where he gives tips to 20-year-olds. Where Ted says, "Hey, this is what happened in my life. I want to make sure that you
Well,
guys
I did
don't
it once.
repeat."
I did it
And
once.
yeah, Mark even did one once.
gave
Yeah,
some. That was good.
Yeah, and
I like
so
this
we
better
wanted to
than
switch
mine.
it up to suggestions for 60s, so that Ted could help because we have some people that are older who want to listen to who listen to the show.
We want to
have
give a shout out to different demographics.
Yeah, we have a
obviously.
60-year-old in Sri
Right.
Lanka
Yeah.
now. Sri
Right.
Lanka listening to us.
Right. It was my favorite one. We're going to do at some point is a list for lesbians, and it's just a list of things lesbians should do
I like
before
that.
they. Yeah,
I like that.
But we got
Because
suggestions.
Ted knows enough about lesbians.
It's been
yes,
clear
he
to me
does.
this whole show that Ted knows about women.
And
It's been like I've been like, you know who knows women? Ted.
and sex
It's still a mystery, by the way. It's still a mystery. So
and people in their 60s.
I stopped asking questions.
Do you know what the clit is?
Yes, it's actually above the. So what? It's the
All right,
vagina
that's-
and the
that's
clitoris
fine.
because the clitoris is below. Okay, all right. We'll talk about.
We'll talk about-
catch that
I'll
later.
draw you a diagram
We'll
at
catch
the
it
end of
later,
the
yeah.
show.
A Venn diagram. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so Teddy. So just because people.
Actually, she's going to sign the board. Her signature includes a
It
clitoris.
just clitoris.
All right, so Teddy, we have to do this because people are getting on social media. They're just like you promised Ted was going to do suggestions for 60s like
So
a
don't-
month ago.
So don't break your
Yeah.
break your promise.
So
All right,
okay,
let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, so Teddy, do your suggestions for 60s.
Okay, so this is my first one. It's not going to be very good.
Wait, hold on. I have to do our sponsor for that.
Oh, it's
Go your
sponsored
sponsor
by.
first, yeah.
I have to do a sponsor. Okay. Are you sick and tired of having to pick up your phone to see what's happening? Are you sick of having to run through all the apps to see what your friends are doing? Total Control Inc. has exactly what you need. The phone helmet. The phone helmet is the single greatest invention in the history of the world. The phone helmet fits over your head and totally and completely immerses you into your phone. No more distractions from someone sitting next to you. No more being bothered by teachers or bosses asking ridiculous questions that you don't want to answer. And no more worrying about when you walk into a wall or wander into traffic. The phone helmet not only blocks out everything in the real world, but it's protection from when you invariably fall into a hole, get hit by a car, or walk off a porch or a cliff. This Christmas, stop being bothered by people who aren't following your Twitter posts, TikTok videos, or enjoying your OnlyFans page. Get Phone Helmet and be the center of the universe that you already think you are.
Phone helmet.
Phone Helmet. It's like a purple helmet, but it's not purple.
They've got a
But it
store in
could be.
Park Ridge now, I think.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. All right, Teddy. Sorry, everybody tells me.
No, that was good.
So
That was good. That was
I
good.
have to do that. Okay, so please, suggestions for 60s.
Okay, so this is not going to be the best suggestion because it's my first one ever. For
Don't
suggestions for
don't
60s.
set it up.
Yeah, you're already saying this is
Listen,
shit.
guys, I wasn't surprised.
Listen, I'm here to underpromise and over deliver.
I'm not going to be the best fuck you ever
Set
had.
the bar low.
Under-promise, yeah.
Set the bar low.
Not if you said I'm the best. Okay, for example, I golfed with a guy one time. Before I golfed with a guy, he said,
We all know you don't golf.
"I'm a great golfer." He goes,
He does. He just
goes,
does it shitty.
do it well.
I golfed with a guy one time, and he said, "I'm a really good golfer." He told us about all the scores he shot, and he was like, "Wow, it was actually pretty funny to watch." Not this guy. but
Okay,
it was
come on.
Okay.
Suggest.
So here,
Let's go.
here it is. Okay, so suggestion for 60s: stop complaining so much. Stop complaining. So I'll give you an example. So
No,
I was
it's real.
I was
It's
on a
real.
golf course one time, and we were playing pretty fast. I'm a pretty fast golfer, and this guy with this group behind us, they were probably in their late 50s, 60s. They were hitting into us. They were complaining vehemently the whole time. We get to the end, and I'm just thinking to myself, where the fuck do you got to be? You're retired. You're 60. You're in good shape, obviously. So stop complaining about the government. Stop whining about shit. You've made it this far in life. You're probably retired or about to retire. Get an escort. Stop. Just
Ford
stop.
escort?
Stop being a fucking jerk. Don't worry about. Just stop complaining about the government. Just people, like older people in general, have a tendency. They get very regimented in their ways. They have a tendency to complain and complain about for no good reason. They're just complaining to complain. There's no reason to complain. It's not like it's like we're pushing your fucking family off a cliff or something. I mean, you know what I mean?
No,
you know what I'm talking about?
no, Teddy,
Yeah.
listen to me. This is perfect.
Yeah.
So now we have no female listeners, and all the old people.
I'm
hate
going to
us.
tell you a funny story.
I love
have
this
a-
guy in Sri Lanka.
No.
Is like, I got plenty to.
Yeah.
I got
no,
plenty
I'm
to
gonna tell you-
complain
I'm gonna-
about.
I'm gonna
You know
tell
how
you-
you have a house? I don't have one of
Yeah,
those.
I'm going to tell you a funny story. No, seriously. If you don't have your shit together,
I will
by
just say
No
this,
big
Elizabeth.
deal.
I will just say this. Fuck you, Sri
yeah,
Lanka.
if you don't,
Fuck you.
honestly, if you're in your 60s and you don't have your shit together by the time you're in your 60s, just make sure you put the barrel of the gun all the way down your throat before you pull the trigger, because I mean you ain't gonna fucking
No,
make
that
it.
is. You know
Oh,
what?
Well, at
that's
least
so
you have
ugly.
a gun. At
No,
least you
no,
have
no,
a
That's
gun.
ugly.
No,
Or
that's
I'm sorry,
That's
take
ugly.
it dilaudid. Make it look a dilaudid. I'm sorry.
No, but that's
You don't have to
true.
use a
I mean,
Also, very ugly.
It is. It is ugly. It is ugly. But life's ugly. Life's ugly.
But no, shouldn't you? I mean, at some point, shouldn't you have? I mean, if you're 60, shouldn't you have your shit together?
you should have your shit
No.
together.
What?
No.
60?
Yes.
People are constantly growing and changing, and people want different things. And as you're growing and changing, you find out things that you don't realize you like. For example, swingers.
The
Like,
movie or the
no,
people?
I'm telling you this. This is like, I just went to a nudist camp not too long ago. We can talk about this in another podcast. Just invite
wow.
me back.
Fuck, yes,
no
we
big
will.
We're gonna
deal.
talk about this.
But
So
what
we'll
I'm
see her-
telling
we'll
you,
see- we will
it's-
see Elizabeth next week.
it takes a long time to get comfortable with who you are. It takes a long time to get comfortable with your body. And so, like, there are things you don't know necessarily that you like and love until you can feel comfortable with it. So if you do that and you're a little messy at 60, fuck yes. Keep growing.
So life
Keep
is
growing.
So life isn't ugly. It's fugly.
No.
Oh man.
Well, you
no,
know, if you're 60,
60-year-old
we need to run a book in boot camp then, because we did get you up to speed real quick then.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. I do not want to go to a 60-year-old nudist
because
camp.
time's a finite amount.
I
No, it wasn't
disagree.
a 60-year-old.
How old are you, Matt?
I am 55 years old.
You are a very good-looking man. I would look at you naked.
Oh my god.
You know,
Why
women,
would?
you know, women
You have
lie.
no
you know,
choice
you know, women
because
lie to
he is
you.
I would
actually
look both of
naked.
you naked. This one, I'm not sure.
You know,
about.
women lie
No, you know
to
what's
make you feel better about
no,
yourself.
Elizabeth.
That is not true. I think I've proven that I have no bullshit tolerance. Like, I don't bullshit for shit.
No. You know what?
There's a lot of
That's
pillow
real
talk,
because
lot of pillow talk.
No. Listen, that's real because the funniest thing is, I mean, you kind of have to be comfortable in who you are, right?
Yes.
I mean, you have to. but I don't necessarily want to look at like I see myself naked all the time, and I'm just like, yeah, hey man, no, I want to see something better.
I will tell you, I did a storytelling. I used to run this storytelling show called Bear It All, and it was we were all naked telling stories. Us were naked, and then our audience was naked. We'll discuss this at the next podcast recording because we really are, I think, running out of time.
Where
for
was
you
it
guys.
at? Where was it?
Holy shit!
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
In my basement. Yes.
It could be.
Yes.
We can make that happen.
Yes, it will be.
We need to bring her back here. That's all I need to say. So.
Hey Ted, you got to be naked though, dude. And I do not. Here's the problem.
Ted is ready for another lashing.
Yeah. No, Elizabeth.
I will tell you, most people look better naked than they do with their clothes on.
Except Ted. No, listen. Here's the thing. Ted and I have been friends for like 20 years. I feel like
I'm so sorry. My condolences.
Actually, I want to use the word associates. Associates.
No. Listen. For whatever you think, whatever you heard, Ted is the nicest person I have ever met.
Yes, he's super sweet.
Ted would
True
literally,
that.
and I've said this before, Ted
True
would literally
that.
give you the shirt off his back, and if he
that.
didn't have a shirt, if he already gave the shirt away, he'd go
He would
to the
just give me
store.
the hair off of his
no,
back?
he'd go to the store, he'd buy another shirt, and he would give you that shirt.
Yeah,
He would.
I
and then
agree
it
with
cut.
that.
And then it cut your throat, so you couldn't tell anybody about it.
No,
That's
you're
not
out
true
of
at
it.
all.
okay,
That's
that's
It's like, no.
that's not true at all. But if him and I sat in a room naked, it would change our relationship forever, and not for the better.
I'd like to agree with you, but I actually don't. But again, we'll talk about it another time. I
All
wasted
right.
too much of your time.
All right. So wait, man. The next time, if it's next time naked podcast, we cannot have a mystery guest.
We're losing
'cause they
audience.
would- mystery guests
We're
would freak
losing
out.
audience members as we speak, so we need to wrap this
No,
up.
no. Here's the thing.
No, they can't see you. That's his whole
Yeah.
point. That's like
Oh,
that's the
man.
gift of
this
like.
would be so terrifying. Naked. We were all naked, and then we had a mystery guest. I mean, Linda was probably what 70.
I think she would have been cool with it.
60,
you
70
you
years.
trucked
Should have
her.
been, yeah.
She would have been like,
What?
all right.
I was.
Hey,
I
how
was.
about me guessing that right off the bat?
Yeah, fuck you, man. That freaked me out.
I'll tell you.
Mark,
Actually,
you're
next
an
episode,
amazing
I will
human.
tell you a funny naked story next time. It's
That's
kind of
because-
embarrassing. I'll tell you a funny naked story next time, and this is
It
real.
seems like we need a whole new situation because
Okay, I
we're-
cannot wait. Let's.
Yeah.
All right. I'm in for naked show.
I'll tell you a funny naked story.
There's no way
You're not going to like
you
it.
have
though.
you have a naked story that's
oh, it
funny.
is, no, it's not. No, it's not funny at all. It's not
Ted,
funny at all.
Ted, it will
It's-
live
it's-
in people's
it's-
nightmares.
It's dysfunctional, actually.
It would live in people's nightmares
It's
forever.
dysfunctional, yeah.
But with that in mind, we do have to stop this thing. And Elizabeth, if you listen to the end, you know everybody gets their last kind of thought. If you did not listen, this is great. She's
No,
looking at
that's
me.
not true. No, because I listened to the beer guy and I listened to.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I was just like enjoying it
Final
too much.
thought. We did
Okay,
like
so we do
final
our final thoughts, right? So I never make the guests go first.
Thank
okay?
you.
So Teddy, I will leave you with your final thoughts. Please go ahead.
You know, honestly, I don't have a thought, but I really enjoyed this episode. And Elizabeth, you've been a great guest, and you really challenged me mentally, and I appreciate that. And
I feel like it might not take too much.
I was. I don't want to say I was intimidated, but I was almost there. Yeah, I was almost intimidated. Yeah, so I was almost intimidated. So whatever the step, whatever the step below intimidated is, that's where I was at. I mean, so there's that step, and then there's intimidated. So I don't know what there's a word for is that, but that's where I was at.
It's
Right?
because I didn't pull out my cock. But wait, next time when we're naked.
I'm sure it's bigger than mine.
No, see, that's why I don't want to do this because when I do this because I spend all this time talking about how big my dick is. Like I brag about it. I'll be like, the show was canceled this
naked
week.
now.
Yeah, the
You're
show
like,
was
"It's
canceled.
cold, it's cold."
Yeah, the show was canceled.
And
Yeah,
my
the
gag,
water was cold.
and my gag reflex isn't that good, so be careful out there. So.
Oh my god! All right, Mark. Oh,
I really
shit.
have to follow that.
Yes, you have. Mark, your final thoughts.
It's okay.
So, the first thing that came to mind was "Be Kind, Rewind."
From like a video?
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah. Be kind, be rewind. Yeah.
So we all grew up in the VHS.
100%, yeah.
era, and
Dude, what about
All
Betamax?
Ted,
I
it's
love
not your
Betamax.
turn to talk. Keep it in. Keep it in.
Zip it, Ted. Zip it, Ted.
Mark has the floor.
Yeah, put it back in your pants.
oh,
and
I
zip it.
finished. I'm done.
That was it.
No. So the whole thing with "Be Kind, Rewind." That is a statement. So
Stop doing this when I take a drink of beer. You're going to make me spit all over my
it
expensive
just
microphone.
made me think about how back in like the 80s and even the 90s, and it is now, but we look at things differently because we're older, so we don't see it the same way as our kids and stuff like that. But it was always like "Be kind, rewind." There was always companies and people out there putting out positive messages like, "Hey man, it doesn't cost anything to be nice," things like that, right? So my message is and it's not because you're on the show, Elizabeth, because I love Elizabeth. No, I was thinking about this for 2 weeks. I'm like, so I'm just rambling now, but I'm going to leave it like that. Be kind, rewind.
Okay, I really like that one, Mark. Thank
Think
you.
about it. Deep thoughts.
Deep thoughts.
Okay, so Elizabeth,
And then let me no. Expand on this.
all right, Mark, put it away. Zip it up, put it away. All right, Elizabeth, last thoughts.
I have two things. One, I would like to ask you guys not to use the word retarded because you guys used it several times tonight.
Not me. I did.
Yes. So
I'm guilty of that.
please,
Sorry.
please don't use that one. And then number two, if we do a naked podcast, I just need about a week advance notice so I can get my back waxed.
Me too. Me too.
Oh my God, I was going to say that. That is the weirdest thing.
And just to reduce the bloating. So I mean, just you
Yes.
want to just
we got to get shredded. We got to get some saunas. We gotta
get the water
stop
intake
eating,
out. Yeah,
stop
exactly.
eating the hot dogs.
Exactly. yeah.
So
I
what
just
is
need
that?
I need some prep time so I can like just make sure that things are like okay.
no fupas. No.
Yeah,
You know,
I
No,
am a-
I'm coming with a fupa. It's been there forever.
that's okay. That's all right.
Okay, so I'm just going to do this. What the fuck's a fupa?
It's your fat upper pussy area.
Thank you. I mean, do we have to tell you that? I mean,
Yes, you had. You literally
Yes,
had to tell me that.
also most women who've had children, we have that because it's like from the loose
I
skin
had
from the
no
babies.
idea what that is.
Yes,
I don't.
that's my gift to you. It's Ted's gift to Matt.
Wow, thank you very much. Okay, so listen, I'm just going to say, wow. Man, if listen, when we again,
Such an
is this
educational
your first?
show.
Is this your first time out of the house?
no,
Just like-
no, no, listen.
At the Naked Podcast, you'll see a fupa and he'll see a clitoris. It's going to be amazing.
Wow. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, Mom, what's that?
Oh my God.
I never seen that before.
So, you know, when you do a
It's like some
podcast,
kind of UFO.
no, when you, man, my fucking cheeks hurt. I'm laughing so hard. So when you do a podcast,
Did you stop recording already?
No,
Oh,
I'm
we're
taking
still
these
going?
off. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No.
We all got to go.
No, listen, when you do a podcast and you say to yourself, are you ever going to hear a person, like, are you going to have somebody on? You're like, oh, we're going to have a lot of guests on. You're going to have a guest on that says fat upper pussy area? And you're like, no, I'm not going to do that because you know what? That's not cool, man. That is
Look,
not
this
cool.
woman's a treasure. Just bring her back, okay? That's all I got to say. I'm
no,
done.
No, I mean,
I'm done.
Yeah, and then
Ted,
then
we cannot afford her.
The woman's a treasure.
no, but then when you do it, then you
I'll
say to
sell her.
yourself,
What-
then you
what
say
does
to
it
yourself,
take?
you're gonna. I'm like, Teddy, we're gonna have a podcast, and I said, Teddy, it's gonna last 40 something episodes, and on one of the episodes, a woman's gonna tell us that last week she had a Bigfoot in her yard, and I would, and at no point when we started this, when we talked about doing this, you know, way before this, at no point could I ever hope for any of those two things to happen, and now that they've happened. I'm just the
The sky's the limit.
I'm just the happiest guy in the whole wide world. All right, so listen, I'm going to tell everybody, man, if listen to this show when you're working out or around other people. So when they hear you laugh out loud like I do when I re-listen to these shows, they can give you the same look. I'm in the gym and I'm laughing, and people look at me like, what kind of music are you listening to that you're laughing that hard at? And I'm just like. Hey man, you know what? Madonna, she's hilarious. She is fucking hilarious. Those lyrics are crazy. All right, Elizabeth, thank you for being on the show.
Thank
Thank
you for
you,
having me.
Elizabeth.
I appreciate it. It's
Yeah,
fun.
Mark, thanks for being on the show again because you know it's
you.
great to have you.
Thank you.
Ted, I guess we're going drinking tomorrow. All right, everybody. I know you're going to love this, and man, I cannot wait for the next show. So have a good one, and we'll see you guys next week.